Chapter 1. Stop waiting for motivation and start acting like a professional. Section 1. The Great Delusion. We are a generation of hunters who have forgotten how to hunt. We sit in our modern caves, surrounded by comfort, staring at glass screens, waiting for a feeling to strike us. We call that feeling motivation. We have elevated this fleeting, hormonal spark to the status of a god. We pray to it. We wait for it. We believe that without it, we are paralyzed. But let's look at the truth, the cold, hard reality that most people are too weak to acknowledge. Motivation is a scam. It is a biological bribe that your brain offers you only when conditions are perfect. It is the chemical equivalent of a fair-weather friend. When the sun is out, when you've had 8 hours of sleep, when your bank account is full, and when people are cheering for you, motivation is easy to find. But what happens when it's 4:30 in the morning? What happens when the room is cold, your joints ache, and the world is silent? What happens when you've failed 3 times in a row and the feeling of success has vanished? If you rely on motivation, you are a slave to your chemistry. You are a leaf in the wind, moving only when the environment pushes you. This is the mark of the amateur. The amateur believes they must feel good to do great work. They are waiting for a permission slip from their emotions. I am here to tell you that the permission slip is never coming. If you want to occupy the top 1% of human achievement, you must learn to work without the spark. You must learn to operate in the dark, in the cold, and in the silence of your own resistance. Professionals don't wait, they execute. Section 2. The Anatomy of the Professional. What is a professional? In our society, we use the word to describe someone who gets paid. But in the realm of discipline, professional is a state of mind. Consider the elite soldier, a member of the Navy SEALs or the SAS. Do you think a Tier 1 operator wakes up on the morning of a mission and checks his internal weather? Does he sit on the edge of his cot and ask himself, do I feel like fast roping into a hostile compound today? Am I feeling inspired to execute this high-value target? The question is absurd. The soldier moves because the mission exists. The soldier moves because they have a standard that is independent of their mood. Their training has bypassed their emotional centers. They have built a circuit in their brain that goes directly from requirement to action, skipping the feeling phase entirely. Now, look at the elite athlete. Consider a marathon runner. By the time they reach mile 20, their body is no longer producing motivation. It is producing cortisol. It is producing lactic acid. It is sending screaming signals to the brain that say, stop, protect the energy, survive. The amateur listens to those signals. The amateur says, my body is telling me something is wrong, I should listen to my feelings. The professional recognizes those signals as nothing more than biological noise. They understand that the mind will try to sabotage the body whenever things get difficult. The professional has a contract of execution. They signed it months ago during training. The terms are simple: I will show up. I will perform. My feelings are not invited to the negotiation. You must adopt this contract of execution in your own life. Whether you are building a business, writing a book, or transforming your body, you must stop treating your work like a hobby that depends on your mood. You must treat it like a life or death mission. Professionals don't wait, they execute. Section 3. The Science of the Action-First Loop. Why are we so obsessed with feeling motivated? It's because we have the loop backward. The average person believes the sequence of success is feel good, motivation, take action, get result. This is a biological trap. If you wait to feel good before you take action, you will spend 90% of your life waiting. The actual loop, the one used by every high performer in history, is the action-first loop. Take action, regardless of feeling. Get small result. Feel good, motivation follows the action. Motivation is not the cause of action. It is the byproduct of action. When you force yourself to sit at your desk and write the first paragraph, or when you force yourself to put on your shoes and walk out the door, you are triggering a neurochemical shift. Your brain sees you moving and says, oh, I guess we're doing this now. It then begins to release the dopamine and adrenaline necessary to sustain the movement. You don't get the fuel until you start the engine. Think of your discipline like a heavy locomotive. A train requires an immense amount of energy to move the first 6 inches. It hisses, it groans, it burns fuel at an incredible rate, and it moves at a crawl. But once that massive weight is in motion, it develops momentum. Once it's at full speed, it can smash through a concrete wall without slowing down. The amateur quits during the first 6 inches because it feels too hard and they don't feel inspired. The professional knows that the first 6 inches are a lie. They know that if they just keep pushing, the momentum will eventually take over. You must train your mind to act first and let the feelings catch up later. If you are waiting to feel like a winner before you start acting like one, you will die a loser. You act like a winner when you are tired, when you are broke, and when you are afraid. That is how you become one. Section 4. Killing the internal negotiator. Inside your head, there is a negotiator. Every morning when the alarm goes off, the negotiator starts his pitch. "We didn't sleep well last night," he whispers. "We can make up the work this afternoon. It's raining outside, and the gym will be crowded anyway. If we sleep 1 more hour, we'll be more productive later." The negotiator is highly intelligent. He uses your own logic against you. He knows your weaknesses. He knows exactly which excuses you are likely to believe. Most people live their entire lives in a constant state of negotiation with themselves. They spend more energy debating whether or not to do the work than they do actually doing the work. This is why you are exhausted. You aren't tired from the work. You are tired from the mental civil war you wage every single day. A professional is a person who has fired the negotiator. When the alarm goes off, there is no debate. The feet hit the floor. The negotiator tries to speak, but the professional doesn't listen. They have made the decision once, and they will not revisit it. You need to establish non-negotiables in your life. A non-negotiable is a task that is not subject to your opinion. It is a debt that must be paid to the universe every single day. You don't decide to brush your teeth, you just do it. You don't decide to show up to your job, you just do it. You must move your goals, your fitness, your business, your craft, into this category of non-negotiables. When a task is non-negotiable, the negotiator loses his power. There is no conversation. There is only execution. Professionals don't wait, they execute. Section 5. The standard versus the goal. We often talk about goals. I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to make $1 million. I want to be the best in my field. Goals are great for direction, but they are useless for daily discipline. A goal is a future event. Discipline is a present tense standard. The amateur focuses on the goal and gets discouraged by how far away it is. The professional focuses on the standard. The standard is the minimum level of performance you are willing to accept from yourself today. If your standard is "I show up every day, no matter what," you have already won. You don't need to see the $1 million in your bank account to feel successful. You feel successful because you met the standard of the day. Standard-based living is the only way to survive the middle phase of any journey. The middle phase is that long, dark tunnel where the initial excitement has died, the results haven't shown up yet, and you are tired. If you are goal-oriented, you will quit in the tunnel because the goal looks too far away. If you are standard-oriented, you will keep walking because walking is what you do. It's who you are. Section 6. Training the mind to act first. How do you begin? How do you transform from an amateur who waits for motivation into a professional who executes? It starts with small, violent acts of discipline. The next time you feel a nudge to do something, take out the trash, make a phone call, send an email, do it instantly. Do not allow the 5-second window of negotiation to open. In the moment of "I should," you must transition immediately to "I am doing." You are training a new neural pathway. You are teaching your brain that you are a doer, not a thinker. You are building the muscle of immediate execution. This will feel unnatural at first. Your brain will resist. It will try to pull you back into the comfort of contemplation and planning. Ignore it. Planning is often just a sophisticated form of procrastination. You don't need a better plan. You need a higher volume of execution. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions. The perfect time is a ghost that will lead you to a grave of regret. The only time that exists is now. The only resource you have is action. When you stop waiting for motivation, you become dangerous. You become a person who cannot be stopped by bad weather, bad moods, or bad luck. You become a professional. Professionals don't wait, they execute. Chapter 2. The boring days are what make you powerful. Section 1. The myth of the big break. We are a culture addicted to the eureka moment. We love the story of the scientist who has a flash of genius in the shower, the entrepreneur who sketches $1 billion idea on a cocktail napkin, or the artist who is struck by a divine muse and creates a masterpiece overnight. We love these stories because they suggest that greatness is an accident, a lightning bolt that might one day strike us, too. But these stories are lies. They are the Hollywoodized versions of reality. They skip the thousands of hours of failed experiments, the years of soul-crushing poverty, and the decades of quiet, unglamorous work that made the breakthrough possible. The truth is much less cinematic. Success is not a lightning bolt. Success is a glacier. It moves an inch a day, invisible to the naked eye. But it is massive, it is unstoppable, and it reshapes the very landscape of the earth as it moves. Most people are too weak to be a glacier. They want to be the lightning bolt, flashy, loud, and over in a second. But lightning doesn't build anything. It only burns. If you want to build a life that lasts, you have to learn to embrace the grey, repetitive, boring days. You have to understand a fundamental law of the universe. Boring builds brilliance. Section 2. The high energy trap. Think back to the last time you started something new. Maybe it was a fitness program, a new language, or a side business. Remember that day one feeling? Your energy was through the roof. You bought the gear. You told your friends. You stayed up late planning. You felt like a superhero. That is what I call novelty energy. It's easy. It's free. It's a chemical high provided by your brain to get you started. But novelty energy has a very short half-life. It usually lasts about 2 weeks. Maybe a month if you're lucky. Then, the new car smell disappears. The gym is no longer a place of transformation. It's a place of sweat and soreness. The business is no longer a dream of wealth. It's a mountain of spreadsheets and unanswered emails. This is the boredom threshold. This is where 95% of the population quits. They mistake boredom for a lack of progress. They think, I'm not excited anymore, so this must not be my passion. They go back to the couch, wait for the next spark, and start the cycle all over again with something else. They spend their entire lives as beginners, jumping from one day one to the next, never reaching the day 1000 where the real power lives. The disciplined person understands that boredom is not a sign to stop. Boredom is a test of your character. It is the gatekeeper standing between you and mastery. Boring builds brilliance. Section 3. The gatekeeper of mastery. I want you to imagine a long, narrow corridor. At the end of this corridor is the version of you that has everything you want: the body, the bank account, the peace of mind, the respect of your peers. To walk down this corridor, you don't have to fight dragons. You don't have to solve impossible riddles. You just have to walk. 1 foot in front of the other. Left, right, 4 miles. The walls of this corridor are grey. There is no music. There are no fans cheering for you. There are no likes or shares. There is only the sound of your own footsteps. Most people enter that corridor, walk for 10 minutes, and turn around because it's too boring. They would rather go back to the noisy world of distraction than endure the silence of the process. But here is the secret. The fact that it is boring is exactly why it is valuable. If the path to greatness were exciting every day, everyone would be great. The boredom is the great filter. It filters out the weak, the distracted, and the uncommitted. When you embrace the boring days, you are outlasting your competition by default. You don't have to be better than them in terms of raw talent. You just have to be more patient. Section 4. The 1% rule and the power of repetition. Let's talk about the science of the boring. Why does repetition work? When you perform a task for the first time, let's say making a cold call or practicing a guitar chord, your brain has to build a new neural pathway. It's like hacking a trail through a dense jungle. It's slow, difficult, and exhausting. But when you do it the second time, the 50th time, the 500th time, that trail becomes a path. Then a road. Then a highway. Eventually, the brain coats that pathway in a substance called myelin, a fatty insulation that allows electrical signals to travel at incredible speeds. This is muscle memory. This is flow. But you cannot get the myelin without the boring representatives. There are no shortcuts. Consider Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest basketball players to ever live. There is a famous story of a trainer who went to the gym to work with Kobe at 4 a.m. He expected to see Kobe practicing circus shots or flashy dunks. Instead, he found the best player in the world practicing the most basic footwork for 2 hours straight. The trainer asked him, "Why are you doing the basics? You're the best in the world." Kobe looked at him and said, "Why do you think I'm the best in the world? Because I never get bored of the basics." Kobe Bryant understood that brilliance is just the boring basics performed at an elite level under pressure. If you can't handle the boredom of the basics in private, you will never handle the pressure of the performance in public. Boring builds brilliance. Section 5. The silent years. Every person you admire has a silent period. There is a period in their life, usually lasting between 3 and 10 years, where they worked every single day and absolutely nothing happened. The writer who wrote 5 novels that were never published before the 6th became a bestseller. The YouTuber who made 300 videos to a crowd of 0 before the algorithm finally noticed. The bodybuilder who spent 1,000 days in a basement gym before their muscles finally began to pop. During those silent years, these people were being mocked. Their families told them to get a real job. Their friends stopped inviting them out because they were always working. They had every reason to quit. What kept them going? They weren't chasing excitement. They were chasing the standard. They had fallen in love with the boring Tuesday. They had accepted that their work was a craft, and a craft takes time. If you are in your silent years right now, if you are working hard and the world isn't noticing, congratulations. You are in the forge. The heat of the boredom is burning away your weaknesses. It is stripping away your need for external validation. It is making you self-reliant. Do not look for the exit. Do not look for a shortcut. Stay in the forge. Boring builds brilliance. Section 6. How to fall in love with the routine. So, how do you do it? How do you train yourself to endure the boring days when your brain is screaming for stimulation? First, you must stop chasing highs. In our world of TikTok, Instagram, and 24-hour news, we are dopamine junkies. We are constantly looking for the next hit of excitement. You must practice dopamine minimalism. Learn to sit in silence. Learn to do one thing at a time. If you are constantly overstimulated in your free time, your work will feel 10 times more boring than it actually is. Second, you must gamify the process. Since there is no external reward on a boring day, you must create internal ones. Use a calendar. Put a red X on every day you complete your routine. Your only goal is to not break the chain. The reward isn't the result. The reward is the X. Third, you must find the micro-wins. Even in a boring routine, there are tiny improvements to be found. Can you do the task 1% faster today? Can you do it with better form? Can you do it with more focus? When you look for the brilliance in the boring, the boredom starts to disappear. Section 7. The final transformation. Eventually, a strange thing happens. After months or years of following your boring routine, you wake up one day and realize you are no longer the person you used to be. You look in the mirror and see a different physique. You look at your bank account and see a different number. You look at your work and realize you are producing things that others can only dream of. And people will come up to you and say, "You're so lucky," or "You're so talented," or "How did you have that breakthrough?" You will smile, because you know the truth. You will remember the cold mornings when you didn't want to get up. You will remember the Friday nights you spent working while everyone else was out drinking. You will remember the thousands of boring repetitions that no one saw. You will realize that your brilliance isn't a gift. It is a debt that you paid for in the currency of boredom. The world is full of people who are too weak to be bored. They are the ones who will spend their lives working for the people who are strong enough to endure the routine. Decide which one you are. Boring builds brilliance. Chapter 3. Discipline means doing it even when you hate it. Section 1. The curse of convenience. We live in the age of the easy button. Everything in our modern world is designed to remove friction. We have food delivered to our doors with a swipe. We have infinite entertainment at our fingertips. We have climate-controlled houses, ergonomic chairs, and cars that park themselves. Our ancestors fought tigers and walked across continents. We get frustrated when the Wi-Fi takes 5 seconds to load. This environment has created a dangerous biological side effect. We have become comfort addicted. Because our external world is so easy, our internal world has become soft. We have been conditioned to believe that if something feels bad, if it causes stress, physical pain, or mental strain, it must be a warning sign. We think discomfort means stop. But in the realm of greatness, discomfort is not a warning sign. It is a GPS coordinate. It is the compass pointing directly toward the version of yourself you claim you want to be. Most people stop the moment they stop liking the task. The moment the sweat starts to sting their eyes, or the moment the mental fog makes the work difficult, they bail. They wait for a better time. But the disciplined man or woman understands a fundamental truth that the rest of the world is too weak to accept. Your feelings about the work have nothing to do with the necessity of the work. If it's uncomfortable, it's working. Section 2. The forge of friction. Think about the process of creating a diamond. A diamond is not made in a field of flowers under a gentle breeze. It is made in the dark, under miles of earth, through hundreds of years of crushing, unrelenting pressure and intense heat. Without the pressure, it's just carbon. It's just coal. It's just soot. You are no different. You want the diamond life, the confidence, the strength, the success, but you try to avoid the pressure that creates it. Discipline is the act of staying in the pressure cooker when your every instinct is telling you to scream and run for the exit. It is the ability to look at a task you absolutely detest, a task that makes your stomach turn with anxiety or your muscles ache with fatigue, and say, "I'm doing this precisely because I don't want to." Why is this so important? Because when you do things you hate, you are doing something more important than the task itself. You are killing your ego. You are training your brain to realize that you are the master, and your feelings are the servants. Every time you finish a workout when you're exhausted, or you finish a report when you're bored, or you have a difficult conversation when you're afraid, you are building a calloused mind. Just like a hand that lifts heavy weights develops thick skin to protect itself, a mind that consistently faces discomfort develops a layer of psychological toughness. If it's uncomfortable, it's working. Section 3. The battle of the two voices. Inside your head, there are two distinct voices. The first is the voice of the lower self. This is the primal part of your brain, the amygdala. Its only job is to keep you safe, warm, and fed. It hates effort. It hates risk. It hates pain. When you're staring at your running shoes in the rain, this is the voice that says, "It's not safe out there. You might get a cold. Your knees hurt. You've worked hard enough this week. Just stay inside and watch the news." The second is the voice of the higher self. This is your prefrontal cortex, the seat of your ambition, your logic, and your spirit. This is the part of you that knows who you want to be 5 years from now. This is the voice that says, "Put the shoes on. The rain doesn't matter. The goal is what matters." Most people spend their lives listening to the first voice. They think that voice is them. They think those thoughts are truth. But discipline is the practice of recognizing that first voice as an enemy. It is a liar. It is a coward. It is a saboteur. Discipline means hearing that voice scream at you, hearing it tell you why you should quit, why you can't do it, why you're too tired, and then doing the work anyway just to spite that voice. There is a unique kind of power that comes from being mid-workout or mid-project, hating every single second of it, and smiling because you know you are winning the war against your own weakness. Section 4. The 40% Rule and the Second Wind. There is a concept used by elite special forces operators known as the 40% Rule. It states that when your mind tells you that you are finished, when you feel like you have absolutely nothing left to give, when you are physically and mentally done, you have actually only reached 40% of your true capacity. The remaining 60% is locked away in a reserve tank that your brain refuses to give you access to unless you prove that you aren't going to quit. Your brain is a governor on an engine. It limits your speed to prevent you from braking. But to achieve greatness, you have to be willing to brake. When you push through the "I hate this" phase, when you work through the exhaustion and the doubt, you eventually hit what runners call the second wind. Suddenly, the pain numbs. The mind clears. The effort becomes rhythmic. You have bypassed the governor. You have accessed the reserve tank. But you will never know that 60% exists if you quit the moment you feel discomfort. Most people live their entire lives at 40%. They never know what they are truly capable of because they are too afraid of the 10% of pain it takes to get to the 60% of power. If it's uncomfortable, it's working. Section 5. Reframing discomfort as progress. We need to change your internal dictionary. Currently, your brain defines discomfort as something is wrong. From this moment forward, you must redefine discomfort as growth is happening. If you go to the gym and you don't feel any strain, you aren't getting stronger. You're just moving. If you sit down to study and it feels easy, you aren't learning. You're just reviewing. Think about neural friction. Neuroscientists have found that the actual feeling of mental strain, that itchy, frustrated feeling you get when you're trying to learn something difficult or focus for a long time, is the physical manifestation of your brain changing. That friction is the sound of your neurons rewiring themselves. If you don't feel the friction, the brain doesn't change. So, when you are in the middle of a task you hate, I want you to stop and say to yourself, "This is it. This is the feeling of my old self dying and my new self being born. This frustration is the price of admission for the next level." When you reframe discomfort as a positive signal, it loses its power over you. You stop trying to escape it. You start to seek it out. You become a heat-seeking missile for things that make you uncomfortable, because you know that's where the rewards are buried. Section 6. The story of the long way home. I want to tell you about a man who became one of the most successful CEOs in the world. When he was young, he worked a manual labor job. Every day, after a 10-hour shift, he was exhausted. Most of his co-workers would go straight to the bar or straight to the couch. But this man had a rule. Every single day, he would find one task, just one, that he absolutely did not want to do. Sometimes it was cleaning the grease off the floor. Sometimes it was organizing the heavy inventory. Sometimes it was staying an extra hour to learn the accounting books. He didn't do it for the extra pay. He did it to train his hate-it muscle. He wanted to make sure that him being tired was never a valid reason for him not working. Years later, when he was running a multi-billion-dollar company and facing a crisis that would have broken a normal person, he was unfazed. He had spent years training himself to work when he was tired, stressed, and miserable. While his competitors were panicking or looking for a way to relax, he was in his element. He had learned to thrive in the suck. You must do the same. You must intentionally do things you hate. Take a cold shower when you're already shivering. Do 5 more representatives when your muscles are shaking. Read 10 more pages when your eyes are heavy. Make that awkward phone call when your heart is racing. These are not just tasks. These are discipline drills. They are the repetitions that build the person who cannot be broken. Section 7. The choice is yours. At the end of the day, discipline is a choice between 2 types of pain, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The pain of discipline is heavy. It's the pain of doing the work you hate when you hate it. It's the pain of early mornings and late nights. It's the pain of saying no to the party and yes to the grind. But the pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. The pain of regret is the feeling you get when you look in the mirror 10 years from now and realize you are exactly where you were today. It's the realization that you had the potential, you had the time, and you had the opportunity, but you let it slip through your fingers because you were tired or because it felt hard. Regret is a permanent, haunting pain. Discomfort is temporary. When you face a task you hate today, remember that the discomfort is a tax you must pay to avoid the soul-crushing debt of regret later. Pay the tax. Pay it happily. Pay it with a scowl on your face if you have to, but do not miss a payment. The world rewards those who can endure what others cannot. Most people are too weak to maintain the discipline of doing things they hate. They quit. They settle. They soften. You will not. You will look at the mountain, you will acknowledge that the climb is going to be miserable, and you will start walking anyway. Because you know the truth. If it's uncomfortable, it's working. Chapter 4. Nobody is coming to save you. Section 1. The rescuer fantasy. There is a quiet, subconscious lie that most people carry with them from childhood into their adult lives. It is the rescuer fantasy. It is the belief that somewhere out there, a person, an event, or a stroke of luck is waiting to find you and fix everything. We spend our lives looking at the door, waiting for the right mentor to walk through and give us the secret map to success. We wait for the government to change the laws so our lives get easier. We wait for a romantic partner to complete us and give us the motivation we lack. We wait for the perfect job offer, the perfect economic climate, or the perfect sign from the universe. But while you are sitting there waiting, the clock is ticking. Your life is leaking away, one unrecoverable second at a time. The hardest truth you will ever have to swallow is this: the door is not going to open. No one is coming to wake you up. No one is going to force you to be great. No one is going to hand you the discipline you are too weak to build yourself. The support you think you need is just a mask for your fear of taking responsibility. You are standing on the shore of your potential, waiting for a boat that doesn't exist, while you have everything you need to swim. You are the help you're waiting for. Section 2. The myth of the perfect mentor. One of the most common excuses for mediocrity is, I just don't have the right guidance. We see successful people and assume they had a wise old master who took them under their wing and showed them the way. While mentors are valuable, the belief that you need one before you can start is a form of procrastination. It is productive-looking stalling. You spend your time networking, emailing, and searching instead of working. The greats did not wait for mentors. They became so good that mentors sought them out. They learned from books. They learned from their own failures. They learned by trial and error in the dark. If you are waiting for someone to give you a yes, you are giving them power over your life. You are saying that your success is dependent on their approval. A disciplined person doesn't need a yes from anyone else because they have already given themselves the green light. They recognize that in the modern world, all the information you need is already at your fingertips. You don't lack a mentor, you lack the discipline to be your own teacher. You are the help you're waiting for. Section 3. Radical responsibility. To be truly disciplined, you must adopt a mindset of radical responsibility. This means taking 100% ownership of everything in your life, even the things that aren't your fault. It might not be your fault that you had a difficult childhood. It might not be your fault that the economy crashed. It might not be your fault that you were passed over for a promotion. But it is 100% your responsibility to decide what you are going to do about it. When you blame external factors, you are giving away your power. If the reason you are unhappy is the economy, then you have to wait for the economy to change before you can be happy. You have made yourself a victim. And victims are never disciplined. Victims are never successful. Discipline starts the moment you stop looking for excuses and start looking for solutions. It is the moment you look in the mirror and say, I am the problem and I am the solution. This is a terrifying realization for most people. It's much more comfortable to believe that you're stuck because of circumstances. But for the disciplined person, this realization is the ultimate form of freedom. If you are the reason you are failing, then you are the only person who can change your trajectory. You no longer have to wait for the world to be kind to you. You can take what you want through the sheer force of your own will. Section 4. The psychology of the island. Imagine you are shipwrecked on a deserted island. You are cold, hungry, and alone. You can spend your days sitting on the beach, staring at the horizon, praying for a ship to pass by. You can cry about the unfairness of the storm that wrecked you. You can blame the captain of the ship. Or you can start building a shelter. You can start looking for water. You can start building a signal fire. If a ship eventually comes, great, your hard work will make you more prepared to go home. But if a ship never comes, the person who sat on the beach will die, and the person who worked will survive. Most people are beach sitters. They are waiting for a rescue that isn't coming. They are letting their muscles atrophy and their spirits die while they wait for external savior. You must live your life as if the rescue ship is never coming. You must act as if you are the only person on this planet who can change your life. When you eliminate the option of rescue, your discipline reaches a new level of intensity. You work harder because there is no safety net. You focus more because there is no plan B. You are the help you're waiting for. Section 5. The stories of the self-made. History is not written by the people who were helped. It is written by the people who refused to wait. Consider the story of Frederick Douglass. Born into slavery, he was forbidden by law to learn to read. No one was coming to save him. No one was going to hand him an education. He had to trick white children into teaching him letters. He had to steal books. He had to teach himself in the middle of the night by the light of a stolen candle. He took 100% responsibility for his own mind in an environment that tried to crush his soul. Consider the modern entrepreneurs who started with nothing in a garage. They didn't have venture capital. They didn't have connections. They didn't have an Ivy League degree. They had a vision and the discipline to execute it when everyone else called them crazy. These people didn't have better conditions than you. They simply had a different relationship with responsibility. They understood that the world is a cold, indifferent place that doesn't owe you a single thing. They stopped expecting the world to be fair and started making themselves formidable. Section 6. Building the ownership mindset. How do you kill the rescuer fantasy and build an ownership mindset? It requires a daily practice of self-reliance. 1. Audit your language. Stop saying, "I can't because," or "I would if," or "it's not fair that." These are the words of a victim. Replace them with ownership language, "I will," or "I'm choosing to," or "how can I solve this?" Your words program your brain. If you speak like a victim, you will act like a victim. 2. Stop complaining. Complaining is the act of telling the world that you are powerless. When you complain, you are seeking sympathy instead of a solution. From this moment on, vow to never complain about anything you are not actively working to change. If it's worth complaining about, it's worth working on. If it's not worth working on, it's not worth a single breath of your air. 3. Do the small rescues. Don't wait for a life-changing event to show yourself you are in control. Rescue yourself in the small moments. When the room is messy, don't wait for someone else to clean it. Rescue the room. When you are confused about a topic, don't wait for a teacher. Google it. Study it. Rescue your own ignorance. 4. Accept the solitude. The path of high-level discipline is a lonely one. Your friends might not understand why you are working so hard. Your family might try to pull you back into comfort. You must accept that your vision is yours alone. No one else can see what you see, so no one else can do the work for you. You must be comfortable being your own cheering section. Section 7. The final realization. At the end of your life, you will stand before a version of yourself, the person you could have become. That person will have the health, the wisdom, the wealth, and the impact that you dreamed of. And if you didn't reach that level, you will be tempted to give excuses. You will want to say, "I didn't have enough time," or "the system was rigged against me," or "no one helped me." But that potential you will look you in the eye and tell you the truth. I existed. I was right there. All you had to do was stop waiting and start building. You were the only one who could have saved us. Do not let that be your reality. Wake up today and realize that the cavalry isn't coming. The hero of your story is currently looking at this book or listening to these words. You are the only person who can heal your heart. You are the only person who can build your body. You are the only person who can secure your future. The moment you accept that you are alone is the moment you become truly powerful. Because when no one is coming to save you, you finally realize that you have the power to save yourself. You are the help you're waiting for. Chapter 5. Quiet consistency beats loud talent. Section 1. The seduction of talent. We are taught from a young age to worship talent. We look at the kid who can play the piano by ear, the athlete who is naturally faster than everyone else, or the student who gets straight A's without opening a book, and we call them gifted. We treat talent as if it is a magical blessing, a divine shortcut to the front of the line. But talent is a seductive trap. For many, talent is actually a curse. When things come easy to you, you never learn how to struggle. You never learn how to fail. You never learn how to work when you don't want to. Because the talented person has always been able to rely on their natural gifts to get by, their discipline muscle remains atrophied. They are like a sports car with a powerful engine but a tiny fuel tank. They look incredible at the starting line, but they run out of gas the moment the road gets steep. History is littered with the corpses of talented people who quit. They were supposed to be great. They had the potential. But potential is just another word for what you haven't done yet. Potential without discipline is a tragedy. On the other hand, there is the person who is average. The person who has to work twice as hard to get half as far. The person who isn't the fastest, the smartest, or the strongest. But this person has a secret weapon that talent can never match. Consistency compounds. Section 2. The Flash versus the Hammer. There are two types of workers in this world, the Flash and the Hammer. The Flash is loud. They show up in bursts of incredible energy. They work 20 hours a day for a week, post about their hustle on social media, and make a lot of noise. They look like they are winning. But then, they disappear for a month. They get burnt out. They get distracted. They lose interest. They are firework, bright, loud, and gone in an instant. The Hammer is quiet. They don't make a lot of noise. They don't post about their grind. They just show up. Every day, at the same time, they strike the nail. Rain or shine, happy or sad, they are there. They might only work 4 hours a day, but they do it 365 days a year, every year, for a decade. If you watch them for a day, the Flash looks more impressive. But if you watch them for a year, the Hammer has built a skyscraper while the Flash is still looking for his next burst of inspiration. The world is distracted by the loud, but the world is built by the quiet. Discipline is the ability to be the Hammer. It is the understanding that one small, quiet, consistent action is worth more than 1,000 loud, inconsistent intentions. Consistency compounds. Section 3. The Mathematics of the 1%. To understand why quiet consistency wins, we have to look at the math of human improvement. Most people try to change their lives through quantum leaps. They want to lose 30 pounds in a month. They want to double their income in a week. They look for the one big thing that will change everything. The disciplined person understands the power of 1%. If you get 1% better at your craft every single day, you don't just get 365% better in a year. Because of the way skills and habits compound, you actually end up 37 times better by the end of the year. Think about that. If you are a writer and you write just 2 pages a day, quietly, consistently, without fail, you have written 2 full-length novels in a year. If you are an investor and you save just $50 a week, every week, for 30 years, you become a millionaire. The loud talent tries to do 100% in one day and then does 0% for the next 30 days. They end up exactly where they started. The quiet worker does 1% every day and ends up a master. Consistency is the interest rate of life. The more you invest in the boring daily actions, the more the universe pays you back in exponential results. You don't need to be spectacular today. You just need to be 1% better than the person you were yesterday. Consistency compounds. Section 4. The Unseen Work. The reason most people are too weak to maintain consistency is that consistency requires you to work without an audience. Talent usually gets noticed early. People clap for the gifted kid. But nobody claps for the person who gets up at 5 a.m. to walk on a treadmill. Nobody claps for the person who spends their Sunday afternoon meal prepping or studying a boring textbook. This is unseen work. And unseen work is the only work that actually matters. If you only work when people are watching, you aren't disciplined, you're an actor. You are performing for validation. The moment the audience leaves, your discipline will vanish. True consistency is quiet. It's what you do when no one is looking, when no one is cheering, and when there is no immediate reward. It's the realization that you are not doing this for them. You are doing this for the version of yourself you are building. The greatest structures in the world, the pyramids, the Great Wall, the skyscrapers of Manhattan, all spend a massive amount of time being unseen underground. The foundation is the most boring part of the building. It's just concrete and steel buried in the dirt. But without that quiet, unseen foundation, the loud tower would collapse the moment the wind blew. Your discipline is your foundation. Build it quietly. Build it deep. Section 5. The gifted quitter versus the average finisher. I want you to look back at your high school or college years. Think about the person who was voted most likely to succeed. Where are they now? Statistically, many of them are stuck in middle management or living mediocre lives. Why? Because their early talent made them soft. They hit a wall in their 20s or 30s where talent was no longer enough, where they actually had to work and they didn't know how. They were gifted quitters. Now, look at the person who was average but refused to stop. The C student who started a business and stayed with it for 15 years. The unathletic kid who started running and eventually finished an Ironman. The average finisher will always surpass the gifted quitter. Life is not a 100-meter dash. It is an ultramarathon. In a dash, the most talented person wins. In an ultramarathon, the person who can endure the most boredom, the most physical discomfort, and the most mental fatigue wins. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be the one who refuses to leave the field. If you are still there when everyone else has gone home, you win by default. Consistency compounds. Section 6. How to become the machine. How do you build this quiet consistency? How do you stop being the flash and start being the hammer? 1. Lower your expectations for intensity. Most people fail because they set their day one bar too high. They decide to work out for 2 hours a day. That's unsustainable. Start with 20 minutes. The goal is not the intensity. The goal is the occurrence. It is better to do a bad workout than to skip a workout. A bad workout keeps the habit alive. Skipping a workout kills it. 2. Focus on the schedule, not the result. Stop looking at the scale. Stop looking at your bank account. Stop looking at your likes. Instead, look at your calendar. If you check the box today, you won. If you follow the schedule, the results will take care of themselves. The schedule is the only thing you can control. 3. Value quiet progress. Stop telling everyone what you're going to do. When you announce your goals, your brain gets a fake dopamine hit of success, which actually makes you less likely to do the work. Work in silence. Let your results be your noise. 4. Forgive the slip, but never miss twice. You are human. You will miss a day. The loud talent misses one day and says, "I ruined everything, I might as well quit." The quiet machine misses one day and says, "That was a mistake. I will not miss tomorrow." Never miss twice. 1 miss is an accident. 2 misses is the start of a new, bad habit. Section 7. The gap. As the years go by, the gap between the talented and the consistent becomes a canyon. At year 1, they might be in the same place. At year 5, the consistent person has a slight lead. At year 10, the consistent person is in a different universe. The quiet consistency you maintain today might feel small. It might feel like it doesn't matter. You might feel like you're falling behind the loud people who are moving fast. Ignore them. They are sprinting toward a cliff. You are climbing a mountain. Keep your head down. Keep your strike steady. Keep your rhythm. The world doesn't pay out daily. It pays out at the end, with interest. And the person who gets the biggest payout is the one who was too disciplined to stop when it was quiet, too strong to quit when it was boring, and too wise to rely on talent alone. Consistency compounds. Chapter 6. The discipline of saying no. Section 1. The economics of attention. Most people think of discipline as adding things to their life. They think it's about adding a gym routine, adding a reading habit, or adding a new business strategy. But the highest form of discipline is not additive, it is subtractive. It is the art of the no. Every human being starts the day with the same 2 currencies, time and energy. These are non-renewable resources. Once you spend a minute of your time, it is gone forever. Once you deplete your energy on a trivial task, You cannot get it back to use on a vital one. The average person is a spendthrift of the soul. They say yes to every notification on their phone. They say yes to every coffee catch-up they don't actually want to attend. They say yes to every distraction, every gossip session, and every low-level impulse. And then, at the end of the day, they look at their goals and say, I just didn't have enough time. You didn't lack time. You lacked boundaries. You must understand that every time you say yes to something that doesn't matter, you are implicitly saying no to something that does. A yes to 3 hours of Netflix is a no to your side business. A yes to a toxic friend's drama is a no to your mental peace. A yes to that sugary snack is a no to the body you want. Protect your focus like your life depends on it. Section 2. The disease to please. Why is no the hardest word in the human language? It's because we are social animals. We have a deep-seated, biological fear of rejection. We want to be liked. We want to be the nice guy or the helpful girl. We think that saying no makes us selfish, arrogant, or cold. But here is the truth. People who cannot say no are not actually nice. They are weak. They are people pleasers who are trading their future for a momentary hit of external validation. They are letting the world dictate their schedule because they are too cowardly to set a boundary. The professional understands that they cannot be all things to all people. If you try to please everyone, you will end up pleasing no one, least of all yourself. Saying no is an act of self-respect. It is a signal to the world that your time is valuable, your mission is important, and your focus is not for sale. When you start saying no to people, some will get angry. Some will call you changed. Some will drop out of your life. Let them. The people who are offended by your boundaries are the ones who are most benefited by you having none. The people who truly care about your success will respect your no. They will understand that you are on a mission. Protect your focus like your life depends on it. Section 3. The digital parasite. We live in the most distracted era in human history. There are thousands of the world's smartest engineers working at companies in Silicon Valley whose only job is to find a way to steal your focus. They use psychological triggers, dopamine loops, and variable rewards to keep you scrolling, clicking, and liking. Your phone is not just a tool. For most people, it is a digital parasite. It feeds on your ambition and leaves you with a hollow sense of busyness without any actual achievement. The disciplined person treats their attention like a fortress. They do not allow push notifications to breach the walls. They do not allow the infinite scroll to suck them into a trance. Consider the opportunity cost of your screen time. If the average person spends 4 hours a day on their phone, which is a conservative estimate, that is 28 hours a week. That is 1,456 hours a year. In that same amount of time, you could learn a new language, write 2 books, and build a world-class physique. You are literally scrolling your life away. You must learn the discipline of the digital no. No phones in the bedroom. No social media until your most important task of the day is done. No aimless browsing under the guise of research. If you do not control your technology will control you. It will turn you into a spectator in your own life. Protect your focus like your life depends on it. Section 4. The toxic anchor. Discipline isn't just about saying no to apps. It's about saying no to people. You have heard it before. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But most people don't take this seriously. They stay in friendships of convenience, people they went to school with or people they work with, even if those people are anchors dragging them down to the bottom of the ocean. If you are trying to build a disciplined life, but you spend your weekends with people whose only discipline is choosing which bar to go to, you are fighting an uphill battle. You are trying to run a race while someone is pulling on your jersey. You must have the discipline to audit your circle. Ask yourself, does this person challenge me to be better? Do they respect my goals? Or do they mock my ambition because it makes them feel guilty about their own laziness? You don't need to have a dramatic breakup with everyone. You just need to say no to the invitations that lead you away from your path. You need to say no to the gossip. You need to say no to the loser energy that complains about the world without trying to change it. It is better to walk alone for a year than to walk in the wrong direction with a crowd. Section 5. Creating personal rules. Most people rely on their willpower to make decisions in the moment. When someone offers them a drink or asks them to stay out late, they think about it. They weigh the pros and cons. They negotiate. And as we established in Chapter 1, negotiation is the enemy of discipline. The professional doesn't negotiate. They have rules. Rules are pre-made decisions. They take the effort out of saying no. I don't check my phone after 9 p.m. I don't do casual coffee meetings. I don't eat processed sugar on weekdays. I don't hang out with people who complain. When you have a rule, you don't have to think about the answer. The answer is already no. This preserves your decision capital for the things that actually matter. It also makes your no feel less personal to others. It's not that you're rejecting them. You're simply following your code. What is your code? If you don't have one, you are a leaf in the wind. You are at the mercy of everyone else's agenda. Write down your rules. Make them strict. And then, have the discipline to follow them even when it's awkward. Protect your focus like your life depends on it. Section 6. The hell yes or no rule. As you become more disciplined and more successful, a strange thing will happen. You will get more opportunities. More people will want your time. More projects will be offered to you. This is the success trap. You become so successful by saying no to distractions that you eventually start saying yes to good opportunities that end up distracting you from your great work. You must adopt the hell yes or no rule. If an opportunity comes your way, a new project, an invitation, a potential partnership, and your immediate reaction isn't hell yes, then the answer must be an automatic no. Maybe is a no in disguise. I guess so is a no in disguise. It might be good for networking is a no in disguise. If it doesn't align perfectly with your current mission, it is a distraction. Even if it's a good distraction, it's still a distraction. You have to be willing to walk away from 99% of good things to have the 1% of legendary things. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who did the most things. They are the ones who did the right things and said no to everything else. Section 7. The final guard. Your focus is your life. Where you put your attention is where your energy goes. Where your energy goes, things grow. If you put your attention on your distractions will grow. If you put your attention on your goals will grow. Saying no is how you build the fence around your garden. Without the fence, the weeds will take over, the animals will eat your fruit, and all your hard work will be for nothing. Yes, people will think you're intense. Yes, people will think you're obsessed. Let them. Normal people get normal results. If you want results that most people are too weak to achieve, you must be willing to do what most people are too weak to do. Say no. Say no to the comfort. Say no to the crowd. Say no to the small version of yourself that wants to be liked by everyone. Wake up every morning and remember, you are the gatekeeper. Nothing enters your mind or your schedule without your permission. Be a ruthless gatekeeper. Protect your focus like your life depends on it. Chapter 7. Learn to work when you're tired, not just when you're fresh. Section 1. The freshness fallacy. We are a society of optimal state hunters. We have been sold the idea that to perform at our best, we need perfect conditions. 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep, a high-protein breakfast, the right temperature in the room, and a clear, energized mind. We read books on biohacking and peak performance, looking for the secret to feeling fresh 24 hours a day. But life doesn't care about your biohacks. The real world is messy. It's chaotic. It's draining. There will be days when the baby cries all night. There will be weeks when the day job sucks every ounce of creative marrow from your bones. There will be moments when your body feels like it's made of lead and your brain feels like it's wrapped in a thick, grey fog. The amateur looks at this fatigue and says, I'm not fresh right now. If I work now, it won't be my best quality. I'll rest today and hit it hard tomorrow when I have more energy. That is the freshness fallacy. It is a sophisticated form of procrastination. If you only work when you are fresh, you are a part-time worker in your own life. You are leaving your destiny up to the energy gods. The professional knows that the work done when you are tired counts for double. It doesn't just move the project forward, it transforms your character. Anyone can be great when they feel good. But who are you when you're exhausted? Finish strong, not comfortable. Section 2. The governor of the brain. Why does your brain scream at you to stop the moment you feel a little bit drained? It is a biological survival mechanism. For 99% of human history, energy was a scarce resource. If you spent too much energy hunting or building, you might not have enough left to run away from a predator or survive a lean winter. Your brain evolved to be a conservation officer. Its job is to keep you in the comfort zone, protecting your reserves at all costs. When you feel that deep, soul-level fatigue after a long day of work, that is your brain's governor kicking in. It is sending you signals of boredom, sleepiness, and physical lethargy to force you to sit on the couch and conserve calories. But you are no longer a caveman living in a world of scarcity. You live in a world of abundance, and the predators you face are mediocrity and irrelevance. Discipline is the act of manually overriding the governor. It is the ability to recognize the feeling of being tired as nothing more than a suggestion from a fearful, primitive part of your brain. When you learn to work when you're tired, you are teaching your nervous system that you are no longer governed by survival, you are governed by purpose. You are proving that your will is stronger than your biology. Section 3. The advantage of the exhausted. There is a massive competitive advantage in being able to work when you're drained. Think about it. Every one of your competitors is working when they are fresh. When the sun is up and the coffee is hot, everyone is grinding. The playing field is level in the morning, but at 9 p.m., at 10 p.m., on a Friday night when the week has been brutal, that is when the playing field clears. That is when the weak go to bed. That is when the talented go to the bar. That is when the motivated go to the couch. If you can find the discipline to do just 1 hour of focused, high-quality work when you are exhausted, you are gaining ground that no one else is even contesting. While the world is recharging, you are gaining an insurmountable lead. Success is often decided in the red zone, the final 10% of the day where everyone else has checked out. If you can develop the mental muscle to push one more step when your body is begging for a pillow, you become an anomaly. You become dangerous. Finish strong, not comfortable. Section 4. Stories of the midnight oil. Think of the great builders of history. Do you think Thomas Edison was fresh when he was on his 5,000th failed attempt to create the light bulb? He was working in a lab filled with soot and sweat, often staying awake for 3 days straight. He didn't wait for a clear head. He worked until the fog lifted. Consider the single mother who works a double shift at a hospital and then comes home, not to sleep, but to spend 2 hours studying for her law degree. She is tired in a way most people will never understand. Her eyes are burning. Her back is aching. But she sits at that kitchen table and opens the book. She isn't doing it because she has motivation. She is doing it because her why is bigger than her fatigue. Discipline is a form of endurance. It is the ability to sustain a high level of effort over a long duration, regardless of the internal weather. The people who change the world are not the ones who had the most energy. They are the ones who refused to stop when their energy ran out. Late nights, early mornings, and the sacrifice of comfort are the down payments on a life of freedom. If you won't pay the price of fatigue now, you will pay the price of regret forever. Section 5. Training endurance as a mental muscle. How do you train yourself to work when you're tired? You don't do it by waiting for a crisis. You do it by practicing in the small moments. 1. The 10-minute rule. When you come home and you feel like you can't do another thing, make a deal with yourself. I will work for just 10 minutes. Usually, the hardest part of working while tired is the transition from rest to action. Once you start, your body often finds a second wind you didn't know you had. 2. Physical state shifting. If your brain is foggy, change your physiology. Take a cold shower. Do 20 burpees. Go for a 5-minute sprint in the cold air. You cannot wait for your mind to feel better to move your body. Move your body to make your mind feel better. 3. Visualizing the other you. When you're tired and want to quit, visualize your competition. Visualize the person who is smarter than you, faster than you, and has more resources than you. Then, imagine them quitting. Imagine them going to bed. Now, realize that this is your chance to lap them. Every minute you work now is a minute they can never get back. 4. Eliminate decisions. Fatigue makes decision-making difficult. This is why you must have your tired work pre-planned. If you know exactly what you need to do, you don't need creative energy, you just need execution energy. Finish strong, not comfortable. Section 6. The difference between tired and broken. Now, I must give you a warning. There is a difference between being tired and being broken. Discipline is about pushing through fatigue. It is not about destroying your health in a way that makes future work impossible. This is not a burnout manifesto. Tired is a feeling. It's a temporary state of low energy. You can work through being tired. You should work through being tired. Broken is a systemic failure. It's when your hormones are crashed, your immune system is failing, and your mental health is in a tailspin. The professional knows the difference. They listen to their body enough to know when they need a strategic pit stop to change the tires and refuel. But they also know that 90% of the time, they aren't broken, they're just lazy and look for an excuse to stop. Don't mistake "I don't feel like it" for "I'm burnt out." Burnout is rare. Laziness is common. Most people use the word burnout to justify their lack of discipline. Unless you are literally falling over, you probably have another mile in you. Section 7. The final push. At the end of a marathon, the runners don't slow down because they are tired. They speed up. They see the finish line, and they dump every last drop of fuel into the engine. They finish with a sprint. This is how you must approach your day, your week, and your life. When you feel the fatigue setting in, that is your signal to increase your intensity. That is your signal that the real training has begun. The work you did when you were fresh was just the warm-up. The work you do now, in the dark, when your head is throbbing and the world is quiet, this is the work that builds the man or woman you are becoming. Do not ask for an easier load. Ask for a stronger back. Do not pray for more energy. Build more endurance. Tonight, when you feel that pull toward the couch, when you feel that freshness has left the building, I want you to smile. I want you to realize that this is the moment where most people are too weak to continue. And I want you to take one more step. Finish strong, not comfortable. Chapter 8. The world rewards those who outlast. Section 1. The tragedy of the great starter. If you want to see the lack of discipline in the world, you don't look at the starting line. You look at the finish line. Every January 1st, gyms across the world are packed. The parking lots are full. The treadmills are buzzing. People are wearing brand new clothes and carrying gallons of water. They have day one energy. They are loud. They are hopeful. They are ready to change their lives. Fast forward to February 15th. The parking lot is half empty. The new year, new me posts have stopped. By April, the only people left are the ones who were there in December. This is the cycle of the human experience. Most people are great starters. They have enough discipline to begin, but they don't have the stomach to continue. Starting is cheap. Starting is easy. Anyone can start a podcast. Anyone can start a business. Anyone can start a diet. But the world does not reward those who start. The world doesn't give trophies for good intentions or high energy begins. The world is a graveyard of half-finished books, half-built businesses, and half-transformed bodies. The rewards of this life, the wealth, the influence, the mastery, and the legacy, are all hidden behind a wall called attrition. To get to them, you have to be the person who is still there when everyone else has gone home. Most quit, you won't. Section 2. The War of Attrition. Success is often portrayed as a battle of intelligence or a battle of resources. We are told that the smartest or the best funded win. But if you look at the reality of high-level achievement, you will find that success is more often a war of attrition. In military terms, attrition is a strategy where you win not by a single decisive blow, but by wearing down the enemy until they have no more will or resources to fight. Life is the same way. The enemy isn't a person. The enemy is the passage of time, the accumulation of fatigue, and the erosion of hope. Life will throw obstacle after obstacle at you. It will give you a bad break. It will make you feel like you're running in place. It will wait for you to get tired. It will wait for you to get bored. Most people have a breaking point. They can handle a month of struggle. They can handle 6 months of no results. But eventually, they reach a point where they say, "This is enough. It's just not worth it anymore." The moment they say those words, they have been attritioned out of the game. But if you decide, right now, that you have no breaking point, if you decide that you will stay in the game until you either win or die, you become a mathematical nightmare for your competition. You cannot defeat someone who refuses to stop. You can be faster than them, you can be richer than them, but if they outlast you, they win. Most quit, you won't. Section 3. The plateau of latent potential. The reason people quit is that they have a linear expectation of progress. They think that if they put in 10% more work today, they should see 10% more results tomorrow. But success is not linear. It is exponential. Think about the Chinese bamboo tree. For the first 4 years of its life, you see nothing. You water it. You fertilize it. You protect the soil. And for 4 years, not a single green sprout breaks the surface. To the outside world, you are a fool. You are watering dirt. But in the 5th year, the tree grows 80 feet tall in just 6 weeks. Was it the 6 weeks of growth that did it? No. It was the 4 years of unseen root development. If the gardener had stopped watering the dirt in year 3 because they were tired of waiting, the tree would have died in the ground. Most people are currently in their year 3. They are watering the dirt. They are doing the work, but the results are invisible. They feel like they are failing because they don't see the sprout. They don't realize that under the surface, they are building the root system of character, skill, and resilience that will support their future growth. The world rewards those who can work through the plateau. It rewards those who understand that the gap between effort and reward is where the real discipline is built. Section 4. The psychology of the quit point. There is a specific moment in every journey, usually about 70% of the way through, called the quit point. This is the moment when the initial excitement is a distant memory, and the finish line is still too far away to see. This is where the pain is at its highest and the reward is at its lowest. This is the valley of despair. This is the point where your brain begins to rationalize quitting. It tells you things like, "I've learned enough, I don't need to finish this. Maybe this wasn't the right path for me after all. I'll take a break and come back to it later," the most common lie. You must learn to recognize the quit point as a milestone of success. If you are feeling the urge to quit, it means you have pushed yourself further than 90% of the population ever goes. The quit point is the gate. On the other side of that gate is the top 10%. When you feel that urge, I want you to look at it with a cold, predatory smile. I want you to say, "This is the filter. This is where the average people fall away. All I have to do to win is keep breathing and keep moving." You don't need a massive burst of genius to get through the quit point. You just need to not quit. Most quit, you won't. Section 5. Patience as an active discipline. We often think of patience as a passive thing, sitting around and waiting for something to happen. That is not the patience of the disciplined. True patience is an active, aggressive discipline. It is the ability to maintain your standard and your intensity while you wait for the results to catch up to your effort. It is the discipline of the hunter. A lion does not wait for prey with a lazy mind. He is coiled, focused, and ready, even if it takes hours for the right moment to arrive. Most people lack this active patience. They get impatient with the process, so they start cutting corners. They stop showing up on time. They stop doing the small things that made them successful in the first place. Their impatience causes them to degrade their own quality, which ensures that they will never get the result they were waiting for. Patience is the discipline of knowing that the harvest is inevitable if the seeds are planted and the field is tended. If you have done the work, you don't need to worry about the timing. The timing is none of your business. Your business is the work. Section 6. The story of the last one standing. Look at the history of the world's most successful companies. Amazon was founded in 1994. It did not turn a profit for nearly 9 years. For nearly a decade, Jeff Bezos had to stand before investors and explain why they were losing millions of dollars. The world laughed at them. The experts said it was a failed experiment. Most CEOs would have quit in year 3. Most boards of directors would have folded in year 5. But Bezos outlasted the skepticism. He outlasted the dot-com bubble. He outlasted the boredom of the middle years. Think about the writer Stephen King. His first novel, Carrie, was rejected by 30 publishers. He was so frustrated he threw the manuscript in the trash. His wife pulled it out and told him to keep going. He didn't get smarter between rejection 30 and rejection 31. He just outlasted the rejection. Success is often just a matter of next. The next call. The next day. The next rep. If you are willing to do one more next than the person standing next to you, you will eventually be standing alone. And the world rewards the last one standing with everything. Section 7. Outlasting the you of yesterday. The ultimate test of outlasting isn't outlasting other people. It's outlasting the version of you that wants to give up. Every day is a new opportunity for your old, weak self to stage a coup. Your old self is waiting for a rainy day, a bad mood, or a minor setback to convince you to return to the life you used to have. Discipline is the act of outlasting your own excuses. It's about being more stubborn than your own laziness. It's about being more persistent than your own self-doubt. You have to be the last one standing in the argument inside your own head. When you look back on your life 10, 20, or 30 years from now, you won't remember the days when it was easy. You will remember the days when you wanted to quit, but you didn't. You will remember the seasons of your life where it felt like you were walking through mud, but you kept your eyes on the horizon. The world is full of talented, smart, and motivated people who are living mediocre lives because they couldn't outlast the struggle. Do not let that be your story. When it gets hard, when it gets boring, and when it gets lonely, remember the mantra. Let it ring in your ears like a war drum. Most quit, you won't. Chapter 9. Build habits that run your life automatically. Section 1. The willpower myth. There is a common image of the disciplined person as a warrior of iron will, someone who wakes up every morning and engages in a heroic, internal struggle to overcome their desires. We imagine them gritting their teeth, clenching their fists, and forcing themselves to do the work through sheer mental strength. I am here to tell you that this image is almost entirely false. If you rely on willpower to get through your day, you have already lost. Willpower is not a character trait. It is a biological resource. It is like a battery in your smartphone. Every time you make a decision, every time you resist the urge to check your phone, every time you force yourself to focus on a boring spreadsheet, every time you choose a salad over burger, you are draining that battery. By the time 5 p.m. rolls around, most people's willpower battery is at 5%. This is why you can be disciplined all morning but find yourself face down in a bag of potato chips by evening. Your battery ran out. The truly disciplined person doesn't have more willpower than you. They simply have a better system. They have designed their lives so that they don't have to use their willpower at all. They have automated their excellence. They have turned their desired actions into scripts that run in the background of their minds. Make it automatic. Section 2. Systems over goals. We are a goal-obsessed culture. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to write a book. I want to earn 6 figures. But goals are inherently flawed because they focus on a future state that you do not yet control. A goal is a destination, but a system is the vehicle that gets you there. If you focus on the destination but forget to put fuel in the car and check the tires, you will never arrive. Winners and losers often have the same goals. Every athlete in the Olympics has the goal of winning gold. Every entrepreneur has the goal of being successful. The goal doesn't differentiate them. The system does. A system is a repeatable process that produces a predictable result. If you are a writer, your system is writing 500 words at 8 a.m. every morning. If you are a runner, your system is putting on your shoes the moment you get out of bed. If you are an investor, your system is the automatic transfer of funds from your paycheck to your brokerage account. When you have a system, the decision is removed. You don't have to ask yourself, should I work today? The system has already answered for you. The more of your life you can move from the decision category into the system category, the more successful you will become. Section 3. The law of friction. Your brain is a path of least resistance machine. It will always choose the easiest option available. If you want to build discipline, you must use this biological law to your advantage by manipulating friction. Friction is the distance between you and an action. If you want to stop eating junk food, you must increase the friction. Don't just try not to eat it. Remove it from your house. Force yourself to have to get in your car and drive to the store if you want a candy bar. Most of the time, your laziness will outweigh your craving, and you won't go. If you want to start working out in the morning, you must decrease the friction. Lay your gym clothes out next to your bed. Put your water bottle on the nightstand. Set your alarm on the other side of the room so you have to stand up to turn it off. The goal is to make the right choice the easy choice and the wrong choice the impossible choice. Stop trying to be stronger than your environment. Your environment is stronger than you. If you sleep with your phone next to your head, you will check it in the morning. If you work in a room with a TV on, you will get distracted. Design your environment for automaticity. Set up your station for success. When you enter your workspace, there should be zero friction between you and the work. Make it automatic. Section 4. The 4 pillars of automaticity. To run your life on autopilot, you must build systems for the 4 pillars of a high-performance life: health, work, learning, and focus. Pillar 1. Health. Do not decide what to eat for every meal. That is a waste of decision capital. Meal prep on Sundays or have a rotating menu of 3 healthy meals you eat every day. Do not decide when to go to the gym. Put it on your calendar as a non-negotiable appointment with yourself. Pillar 2. Work. Create a deep work ritual. Use the same desk, the same music, and the same cup of coffee. By repeating these sensory cues, you are priming your brain. Eventually, the moment you put on your headphones and sit in that chair, your brain will automatically drop into a state of focus. Pillar 3. Learning. Build a content system. Instead of mindlessly scrolling, have a system where you listen to an audiobook for 20 minutes every time you are in the car, or read 10 pages of a physical book before you sleep. If you link the learning to an existing habit, like driving or sleeping, it becomes automatic. Pillar 4. Focus. This is the digital Sabbath. Have a system where your phone goes into a drawer at 8 p.m. and doesn't come out until 8 a.m. This isn't a choice you make every night. It is a rule of the house. Section 5. Habit stacking and the 2-minute rule. How do you build a new habit without it feeling like an exhausting chore? You use 2 powerful psychological tools: habit stacking and the 2-minute rule. Habit stacking is the process of anchoring a new habit to an old one. Your brain already has billions of neural pathways for habits you do without thinking, like brushing your teeth or making coffee. To build a new habit, simply stack it on top of an old one. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write down 3 things I am grateful for. After I close my laptop for the day, I will immediately do 20 push-ups. The 2-minute rule states that when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Don't try to read 1 book a week. Start with read 1 page a night. Don't try to run 5 miles. Start with put on my running shoes and walk out the door. The goal is not to perform perfectly. The goal is to show up. A habit must be established before it can be improved. If you can't master the habit of showing up, you will never master the habit of performing. Make the beginning so easy that you can't say no. Make it automatic. Section 6. From effort to identity. The ultimate level of discipline is when the work is no longer something you do, but it is part of who you are. This is the shift from outcome-based habits to identity-based habits. Most people focus on what they want to achieve, outcome. I want to be a marathon runner. Outcome. I want to be a wealthy person. Outcome. The disciplined person focuses on who they are, identity. I am a runner. I am the type of person who never misses a workout. I am a writer. When an action is tied to your identity, you don't need willpower. A non-smoker doesn't use willpower to turn down a cigarette. They turn it down because I am not a smoker. It's not a choice, it's a fact. Every time you follow your system, even if you do it poorly, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. If you show up to the gym when you're tired, you are casting a vote for your identity as an athlete. If you write 1 paragraph when you have writer's block, You are casting a vote for your identity as a writer. Eventually, the votes accumulate so much that the identity becomes fixed. You no longer have to try to be disciplined. You just are. And once you reach that level, the effort disappears, but the results continue to flow. Section 7. The maintenance of the machine. A system, like any machine, requires maintenance. You cannot set it and forget it forever. Once a week, I recommend Sunday afternoon, you must perform a system audit. Look at your habits and your environment. Did the friction creep back in? Did you start sleeping with your phone again? Did you miss your stack 3 times this week? Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being corrective. When a machine drifts off track, the gears grind. You must have the discipline to stop, look at the system, and fix the leak. The world will always try to pull you back into chaos. People will try to interrupt your deep work time. Events will try to disrupt your workout schedule. Your system is the shield that protects your future from the chaos of the present. Do not leave your life to chance. Do not leave your success to the mood you wake up in. Build habits that run your life for you. Build a system that makes failure difficult and success inevitable. When discipline becomes automatic, you have achieved the ultimate form of human freedom. You are no longer a slave to your impulses. You are the architect of your destiny. Make it automatic. Chapter 10. Become the person who never breaks promises to themselves. Section 1. The mirror of truth. We spend a massive amount of our lives worrying about what other people think of us. We work hard to keep our word to our bosses. We show up for our friends. We try to be reliable for our families. We understand that if we break our promises to the world, there are consequences. We lose our jobs, we lose our relationships, and we lose our reputation. But there is a much more dangerous form of betrayal that most people commit every single day, and it happens in total silence. It is the betrayal of the self. Think about your last 24 hours. Did you tell yourself you were going to get up the moment the alarm went off? Did you? Did you tell yourself you were going to finish that project before dinner? Did you? Did you tell yourself you were done with that bad habit, only to indulge in it one more time when no one was looking? Every time you make a small promise to yourself and break it, you are performing a microsurgery on your own soul. You are cutting away a piece of your self-respect. You might think it doesn't matter because nobody saw, but someone did see. Your subconscious saw. And your subconscious is the record keeper of your life. When you break a promise to yourself, you are telling your brain, my word is worthless. My goals are suggestions. I am not a person of integrity. This is the secret reason why so many people lack confidence. They try to affirm their way into self-esteem. They read books and listen to podcasts to feel better. But you cannot trick your brain into feeling confident when you have a 10-year track record of lying to yourself. Do what you said you would do. Section 2. The internal bank account. Think of your self-trust as a bank account. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you are making a deposit. When you get out of bed on time, that's a deposit. When you drink the water instead of the soda, that's a deposit. When you sit down to work when you're tired, that's a deposit. Every time you break a promise, you are making a withdrawal. Most people are spiritually bankrupt. Their account is overdrawn. They are in deep debt to their own potential. When they try to start a new business or a new diet, their brain looks at their account balance and says, why should I believe you this time? You've failed every other time. You're a liar. This is why you feel that internal resistance. It's not laziness, it's a lack of self-trust. To be a person of discipline, you must become a high-balance individual. You must reach a point where your self-trust is so high that when you say, I'm going to do this, your brain accepts it as an objective fact. You don't have to try to be motivated because your word has become law. When your word is law, your reality begins to bend to your will. But that power is only given to those who are too strong to lie to the person in the mirror. Section 3. The cost of the just this once. The most dangerous phrase in the human language is just this once. I'll skip the gym just this once. I'll check my phone during work just this once. I'll eat the junk food just this once. We tell ourselves this lie to make the betrayal feel smaller. We think we are making a one-time exception. But in the world of discipline, there are no one-time exceptions. Every action you take is a training rep for your character. When you say just this once, you are training your brain to look for loopholes. You are training yourself to be a negotiator instead of a professional. Discipline is binary. It is a 1 or a 0. You either did what you said you would do, or you didn't. There is no middle ground. There is no 90% disciplined. A ship with a 10% hole in the hull is still a sinking ship. If you want to be the person most people are too weak to be, you must eliminate the just this once from your vocabulary. You must realize that the small moments are actually the big moments. It is easy to keep a promise when the stakes are high and everyone is watching. The test of a champion is what they do when the stakes are low and they are the only ones in the room. Do what you said you would do. Section 4. Confidence is earned, not found. People often ask, how do I get more confidence? As if confidence is a hidden treasure they might stumble upon in the woods. Confidence is not a gift. It is not a personality trait. Confidence is the reputation you have with yourself. If you had a friend who lied to you every single day, you wouldn't trust them. You wouldn't be confident in their ability to help you. So why do you expect to feel confident when you lie to yourself every single day? You cannot think your way into confidence. You can only act your way into it. You build unshakable self-belief by stacking wins. Not loud wins that the world sees, but quiet wins. The win of not hitting the snooze button. The win of finishing the book. The win of staying calm when you wanted to scream. After a year of stacking these quiet wins, something changes in your aura. You walk differently. You speak differently. You have a quiet strength that people can sense from across the room. It's the strength of a person who knows, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that they are in control of themselves. A person who never breaks a promise to themselves is the most dangerous person on the planet. They are not afraid of failure, because they know they won't quit. They are not afraid of competition, because they know they will outwork everyone. They have achieved self-mastery. Section 5. Rebuilding from the rubble. Some of you listening to this feel a sense of shame. You are looking back at a trail of broken promises. You've started and stopped 100 times. You feel like your self-trust account is so far in the red that you can never recover. You are wrong. You can start rebuilding your reputation with yourself in the next 60 seconds. But you must start small. If you have a history of breaking big promises, stop making big promises. For the next week, I want you to make only micro-promises. I will drink 1 glass of water before I have coffee. I will make my bed the moment I stand up. I will read for 5 minutes before I check my phone. These sound trivial. But remember, you aren't trying to change your life yet. You are trying to repair your integrity. You are showing your subconscious that you can be trusted again. Do not miss a single micro-promise. Not one. Treat that 5 minutes of reading with the same intensity as $1 million business deal. Once you have a week of perfect deposits, make the promises a little bigger. You are rebuilding the foundation of your character. It takes time. It is boring work, as we discussed in Chapter 2. But it is the only way to become the person who never breaks. Section 6. The unbreakable identity. At the beginning of this book, we talked about discipline as a system, as a struggle, and as a way to outlast the world. But here, in the final chapter, we reveal the true purpose of all that work. The purpose of discipline is not just to get the things. It's not just about the money, the muscles, or the accolades. The purpose of discipline is to become the type of person who is worthy of those things. When you reach the level where your word is bond, where your internal yes means yes and your internal no means no, you have entered a state of being that most people will never understand. You have become unbreakable. The world can take your money. It can take your status. It can take your health. But it cannot take the fact that you did what you said you would do. That is an internal victory that is immune to external circumstances. This is why the disciplined person is so calm in a crisis. They aren't relying on the world to be okay. They are relying on their own proven ability to execute. They have self-belief because they have self-proof. Do what you said you would do. Section 7. The final challenge. You have reached the end of this journey. You have the tools. You know that motivation is a lie and you must act like a professional. You know that the boring days are where the power is. You know that discomfort is proof of progress. You know that no one is coming to save you. You know that consistency beats talent. You know how to say no to distractions. You know how to work when you're tired. You know how to outlast the quitters. You know how to build automatic systems. But all of this knowledge is worthless if you don't apply the final lesson, the discipline of the promise. The world is full of knowledgeable people who are weak. They know what to do, but they don't do it. They have the map, but they are too afraid of the hike. I am challenging you right now to stop being a consumer of discipline and start being a practitioner. When this audio ends, you are going to make a promise to yourself. It might be about your health, your work, or your character. It doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be dramatic. But whatever it is, you must never, ever break it. You are entering a new phase of your life. A phase where I'll try is replaced by I will. A phase where your excuses are greeted with silence. A phase where you become the person most people are too weak to maintain. The path is open. The work is waiting. The only question left is, will you keep your word? Go out and show the world, and more importantly, show the person in the mirror, what a human being is capable of when they refuse to break. Do what you said you would do.